I think about a lung transplant, it's the first time that I had hope that I could see a light at the end of the tunnel. My story really begins in 2008. When I've been having breathing problems, but that particular day I was really short of breath. And so I took myself to emergency, and the attending physician there couldn't believe I even walked in, that my oxygen level was so low. So they admitted me right away, and through tests I was diagnosed with COPD and severe emphysema. I was given medications, puffers, to help with my breathing. And every 4 or 5 months, I visited the internist, the specialist, lung specialist. And at one point, he was doing a research study on COPD and its effects. And then he asked twice, before I finally accepted, to be part of the research. So I said I would. I want to understand what's happening, and also I want to contribute in any way to find a cure. And then I did a test, a breathing test, and then he says, oh my goodness. He says, you can't be part of the study because you have to have a minimum of 30% lung capacity, and your lung capacity is 15. Well, that's the first time I heard how severe my disease was. At that point, that's when I started my regime of oxygen. They realized that I couldn't live without oxygen anymore. That lasted for a number of years, and then I was able to get a portable concentrator. It allowed me to travel more, to go out of the house and visit. One of the places I went was Kingsgate Mall, and there they had a clinic, a pulmonary clinic, put on by St. Paul's. What they did is tell me about a pulmonary rehab program. So I was very fortunate to be able to be part of that kind of program. It saved my life, and switched my doctors. He recommended on our first meeting that I should be considered for lung transplant, despite my age. When I think about a lung transplant, it's the first time that I had hope that I could see a light at the end of the tunnel. I was accepted to be on the list. So to be on the list, you're on call 24 hours a day, and you don't know when that call is going to come. For me, it was 11 months later. I was coming home, I was on the bus, it was about 1 o'clock, 1:30, and I got a phone call from the clinic saying, this is your call. Transplant surgery normally takes about 8.5 hours. And the recovery, you're there for at least 2, 3, 4 days. Things were going very well. As I clicked right along from ICU to step down to my private room, and I was breathing on my own, no oxygen, walking unaided. I used a walker for a while, but what happened was that my lung filled up with fluid, and I caught a virus. And so they had to treat it. So eventually I was in ICU for a couple of days, then stepped down into a private room. The biggest change for me after the lung transplant, and the point in which I knew things were really different, was when I was still in the hospital and I started walking. And I could walk 4 and 5 times around the whole floor and not be out of breath. I'd take my oxygen meter, I'd measure my oxygen level, it'd be 99 to 100 when I'm walking. And that's incredible. As a result of the operation, I feel very fortunate. Fortunate in the things I'm able to do now that I could not do before. there's a whole new world opened up for me. One of the things that I decided to do is to become an advocate for lung problems. So I become very active in the support groups. I've become very active with the BC Lung Association. I've been interviewed in a number of times, and I want to give back to others what I received.